Hey guys, welcome back again to Vanishing Gates Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host Jay, and with me as always is my co-host,
the superhero Jack.
Yeah, he keeps coming up with wannabe taglines. It's never gonna work.
One of them's gonna stick.
Never gonna
They're
get
gonna
it,
love
never
me.
gonna get
It's
it,
gonna stick.
never gonna get it.
Hopefully
never
not
gonna
together.
get
That
it.
would be disturbing.
Oh man.
This podcast has already gone downhill.
Oh yeah.
Just started.
So let's bring it into cigar of the show. I'm smoking a La Gloria Cubana Series R Esteli again because, again, my favorite cigar shop, which, by the way, I've talked to and now I can name drop them. It's John's Cigars, John's Fine Cigars, and Myrtlewood Liquor in Eureka, California.
You know, I think I said that they did mail it or they did order. You can order online. I think I was wrong about that. I don't think
It doesn't matter. The best place to go for cigars in Eureka is John's Fine Cigars.
Definitely.
It's on Myrtle Avenue in Eureka. Great staff, really knowledgeable people, really
Funny.
awesome. Great liquor selection, cool.
They're willing to help too.
They have a nice wine section too, and they even have a beer tasting room and a wine tasting room.
It's It's my favorite. It's the place I go whenever I want a good cigar. That's all I'm saying. We're
Absolutely.
not making money off this. Just so people know.
This is a freebie because we have so many good times.
We fucking love that place. So the people that work there are great.
Come to think of it, I'm basically paying to advertise for them because I'm smoking all the cigars that I bought from them.
We're purchasing their product and advertising.
Yeah,
no money is going to us; it's going out.
Yeah, like I said, I bought a bunch of these Estelis, so or La Gloria Cubana. I think this is a number 65 or something.
I'm back on a Portagas.
The Portagas Extra Fuente. Those are delicious too.
Yep, they're definitely good, but they say CIA on them, so be careful.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not actually the DCAA. I think it's something different. Okay, so before we continue, Jack was bitching about not having something in a previous episode, so I was nice. And you don't get to say I never gave you anything. Back on the Black Eyed Kid episode, we were talking about them coming to get something.
Oh yeah, Milanos.
So I brought delicious Pepperidge Farm Milanos.
That is where we're at.
Yeah,
perfect.
So we have a bag of peanuts, a couple cigars.
Now let's hope we don't fuck this episode up. We have to do all this over again.
Yeah, no, that free endorsement will go right out the door at that point. Only doing one of those. Anyway, so throughout human time, we've been trying to. We've wondered what's gone on past the veil, when our body is just an empty vessel anymore, you know? And because of that, we really do try to figure out what's on the other side. We try to communicate with our loved ones, those who have passed, and some people try to communicate with other things too.
Short answer, just a bunch of dicks who want to fuck you up.
I don't think that's the answer.
It's a short answer.
I think it's a very short answer, probably an incorrect answer. But
Probably is.
That said, there have been all sorts of different ways to divine or to try to get in contact with the other side. And the one we're going to focus on tonight is one that most people have heard about, and a lot of people will steer clear from. I don't think there's really that legitimate a reason to steer clear from it. We're going to talk tonight about the Ouija board.
Oh, I disagree.
Ouija board.
I found a reason to just stay away from it.
Okay, we'll get into that eventually. But let's go with a little history of the Ouija. Ouija, by the way, not Ouija. I know. Why do we say Ouija?
Because
Ouija.
I think it's because we think squeegee.
Well,
and then we just invented the word for squeegee.
I think it's just because we're silly and say things silly over and over and over again.
Is it kind of like when we call our football game, we call it football, but the foot hardly, like once or twice in a game, actually touches the ball?
I have no idea why we call American football football.
Doesn't make sense to me.
We have to look that up sometime. So guys, if you have an answer for why we call the American game of football football, please send us an email at vanishinggates with 2gs@gmail.com. And if you want to tell Jack he needs to lay off the cologne, just don't. Just send him cologne.
Why do I have cologne?
You don't. That's what I'm trying to get at.
What are you trying to
send
say?
him lots of cologne.
You're trying to say this?
Guys, we can verify the existence of the skunk ape.
Oh, God.
No, he's not that bad.
Oh, my God. I totally forgot deodorant this morning.
Oh, man.
See,
I didn't even mean to say that. I was just being mean, but...
I honestly think I forgot my deodorant this morning.
Now that I said it, I'm going to regret this. So,
skunk ape in the house.
So history of the Ouija board. Some of the oldest mention of using talking boards is what some people refer to things like this as, because the Ouija board isn't the first one. It's just one of many that ended up with a patent.
I've got a proper name for it. I'm going to rename it the Stupid Choices Board.
Okay, anyway. So back to the history of it. Some of the oldest mention of using talking boards, a device used for automatic writing is what it really comes down to, can be traced as far back as China around 1100 AD. In historical documents from the Song dynasty, the method known as Fuji, or Fuji, planchette writing, as it's said, is the translation. It was used as a necromantic tool, a tool to give voice and talk to the dead. So to give voice to the dead and to speak back, to communicate thereof, you know. As part of the spirituals movement of the late 1800s and early 1900s, mediums started using all sorts of different communication devices to talk with the dead, including talking or spirit boards. They didn't use Milanos. Pepperidge Farm,
like a Cheeto or Cheerio
Pepperidge
or
Farm
something
doesn't remember them using Milanos for that.
There was a Cheerio on the bottom of my Milanos.
If we have to restart this episode, it's because of you.
I didn't do it.
Keep on track, buddy. This time. Now, in 1890, in Baltimore, Maryland, the Ouija was created and born, depending on your viewpoint, I guess, is how you would say it. So businessman Elijah Bond had the idea to patent a planchette sold with a board that had an alphabet on it, similar to other talking boards of the time. So, again, the Ouija board itself wasn't the first variation of this, but he marketed it with the planchette. That's that little device that you walk around the board with.
Yep.
Now, William Fuld, who's an employee of Elijah Bond, took over production of the talking board, and in 1901, Fuld started production of his own board under the name of Ouija. Supposedly, Charles Kennard, I think I'm saying that right, Kennard or Kennard, founder of the Kennard Novelty Company, which manufactured Fuld's talking board, got the name Ouija from using the board, and that it was ancient Egyptian for the word good luck. That's according to him, anyway. But when Fuld took over, I'm just making up names now. When Fuld took over, he popularized a more widely accepted story that the word was a combination of the French oui and the German yes, or German ja for yes. So oui, or yes, Ouija, yes board. It's the yes board. It's not the no board.
No board.
So if you're listening to that particular idea, it's the yes board.
I don't like that.
I think that there was a guy in a band that played a yes board, or the band was yes and he played a keyboard.
I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's accurate.
That's more accurate. It's accurate. Quote us on it.
Anyway, so you got some Ouija stuff you want to throw in there, buddy?
Oh, throw it at me now, huh?
You wanted to keep interrupting my saying.
I don't even think I was listening to half of what you were saying. So.
You don't usually.
I think I really did listen.
I was talking about the history of the Ouija board.
I didn't notice that there was anything about the Ming Dynasty or China or whatever.
That kind of information is held in these things called books.
Fuck me, what is that?
It's a thing with paper.
I remember when I was a child, they had those. They were useless.
Actually, it was on Wikipedia.
Useless.
Fucking Wikipedia again.
It's. I mean, I don't know what you want me to go over. You got all the information.
Well,
about
you
the
weren't
past.
listening. Maybe you have some things to interject that I missed, but you weren't listening. You weren't.
Well, I mean, did you happen to mention Pearl Curran?
No.
She was an American spiritualist who actually popularized it during World War II. Before that, it was just considered a parlor game, and after her, that's when it became associated with the occult. She kind of put it on that it was she was able to use it like a crystal ball, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought spiritualists were using talking boards long before that as a very, very set in stone kind of thing, not a parlor game.
The Ouija board. The Ouija board, though.
Oh, the Ouija board itself.
The Ouija board itself. The design that I believe Hasbro actually owns the actual word Ouija at this point. Has it? I thought they had trademark. That's what I was reading.
So,
well, fuck me.
Anyway, so Fuld died in 1927. In 1966, Fuld's estate sold the entire business to Parker Brothers, which was then sold to Hasbro in 1991. So it's owned by Hasbro.
That's what I just said.
I thought you said Milton Bradley or something.
No, I said that. Now who's not fucking listening?
You're welcome. Are you sure you're not having one of your little Mandela effect moments?
This is the Mandela effect. You think I said whatever the fuck it was.
So you're starting to understand, I think, what the Mandela effect is.
There was a closet in that house, by the way.
There was not a closet in that house. Guys, this is a whole different story. We're not going to go into that.
There was a fucking closet.
So we used to live in this house when we were younger that didn't have a closet in our bedroom, but he swears up and down there was one.
There was a closet.
Absolutely was not a closet.
You know what? Mandela effect. You don't even remember.
There was not a closet there. It just simply, there still isn't. The house is still there. You can go knock on the door. There's not a closet there.
One thing that is about the Ouija boards. One thing that is like it's standard for religious people and people who spiritualists, the occultic people. They say if you're an amateur, do not use it because generally you're going to fuck up and make a mistake. And they say it's not even though it's marketed towards like the youth. Don't use it if you're younger because you're generally not going to follow the rules properly. You're not going to say goodbye. You're not going to think to even say hello. Probably you're just going to be like, who's there?
Did you look at the age? Suggested age on the Ouija board box?
No, this is what I was just reading.
Why don't you look up the suggested age real quick while I talk about this? So I want you to look up the suggested age by the retailer for use of that Ouija board. This is going to be fun. So, next part, how not to use a Ouija board, which is kind of what he was touching on there. And this is from various sources, guys, not just one. So,
You don't sit on it.
never use a board if you are ill or intoxicated. So, almost everyone I know that's used a Ouija board was intoxicated. So, guys, you already done
Mistakes were
fucked
made.
up. You done fucked up. Never get addicted to using the Ouija board. So never like really get so obsessive and expect good answers all the time, because a lot of people, they just read into what they want to read into, or they'll ask questions that are kind of loaded so it'll sound good and just keep feeding off that, and that's how they'll live their lives. This does happen. People do get addicted to it. People have actually killed people and committed suicide because of what they thought the Ouija board was telling them before, which is just, you know, part of that addiction thing. Be respectful to the spirits. So yeah, again, don't drink while playing with the Ouija board. I think it's a different.
Suggested recommended age to have a Ouija board is 8 and older, and the guy that quoted this says, so you need to be 20 years old to drink alcohol and 8 to summon the devil.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring that up. So 8 and older to summon Satan or to talk to the dead.
21 to drink.
21 to drink and buy cigarettes.
To deal
in
with
California.
spirits, you have to be 21.
You can't even buy cigars in California without being 21 now.
To deal with spirits, you have to be 21 at least in California.
Wrong kind of spirits. So I don't think the ABC is going to come in and kick down your door if you're using the Ouija board and you're under the age of 21.
They should.
They won't.
If you're 7, though, all the 7-year-olds out there, they're going to do that to you.
So don't use the Ouija board when you're angry is another one.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get
No
pissed
heavy
off and use
emotions.
it.
No heavy emotions.
No heavy emotions. What about being elated? You can't just be super happy and use it?
I think any emotion they can attach to. Something can attach
Well,
to
when
any
are you
kind of
supposed to
emotion.
be just like, I'm trying to summon you. I don't really feel much about this right now.
I think it's just
How
calm.
do you feel, Pete? Well, Ted, I'm pretty good. I think to do that, though, you have to be sedated. So, again, you're not supposed to. I think it's
Well,
like
you can go and being interested and stuff like that, but I think the reason they say no heavy emotions is because it can manipulate whatever emotion you have. Like, it can make you think it's a family member. It
I
can
don't
make you think that
the
it's...
board manipulates anything. I think
whatever you might be
manipulate the
talking
board.
to is theoretically is what it is.
Yeah.
Whatever you're talking to could manipulate whatever emotion you have. Like, it could be like you're a family member all of a sudden. Oh, I'm your lost son. I'm your lost daughter. Crap like that. And you start to immediately believe it because you have a heavy emotion of some sort. Or if you're angry, it can latch onto that anger, use it as like an energy, and then stick around just feeding off that anger.
Well, that sounds kind of like when we were talking about what we think about the Mothman. If it's one of those creatures that feeds off of fear and emotion that way. So maybe it's along that same archetype there with the whatever it is. Maybe it's the same creature. Maybe it's like the thing that you talked on the Ouija board is really just Mothman.
Yeah, actually.
You know, or something similar. Maybe.
Could be.
Don't use the Ouija board alone.
Could be a mother-in-law. Those are always the devil.
My mother-in-law hates the Ouija board because of experiences when she was a kid. I don't know the whole story, but I know books were flying off shelves and it creeped her out, so she'll never use it.
Sweet.
It was her sisters that were using it. She wasn't even using
Didn't we
it.
use them when we were younger? I don't
No.
think we ever had it.
We never had a Ouija board.
I think I actually used one once.
No. Maybe. Not in our house.
Yeah, then maybe not.
So don't ever use them alone. I'm not really sure why that's a rule.
I think it's because you're
Maybe it's because part of that addiction thing. You'll just convince yourself of what you're...
potentially, but I think it's really when you're alone, you're vulnerable. I think it's the ideal, like, if you get possessed or something happens, there's no one to help you, there's no one there to notice.
If you're getting possessed, unless there's a Catholic priest doing the Ouija board with you, what the hell does it matter if there's anybody else there with you?
They can say goodbye for you, they can shut the session down and walk away.
Yeah, but if you're possessed at that point, it's already left the board and entered a vessel, so what's the point, right?
You can get blessed.
You can get blessed? Bless you. What are they going to fucking say, gesundheit? Like, you didn't sneeze, you got possessed by a demonic presence.
You might have.
Fuck, dude. This sneezing demon.
Maybe that's the purpose.
Okay, anyway, you gotta keep going here. So don't ever use it alone. And then don't form a pentagram, wear a loincloth, take a bath salts, and try to summon Baphomet for the next Powerball numbers. I winged that one. I came up with that one, guys. That is Jay's rule for the Ouija board. So in case you didn't catch it the first time, don't form a pentagram, wear a loincloth, take bath salts, and try to summon Baphomet for the Powerball numbers.
Yeah, I'm just gonna...
Because imagine you did that and got the winning numbers, but 10 other people didn't and got the winning numbers. Think about that. You just wasted a loincloth and...
bath salts.
But bath salts, good bath salts. And you might have eaten a friend's face.
Yeah, you could potentially eat your friend's face.
You could have potentially eaten your friend's face.
Maybe it's a good friend who doesn't mind you eating their face.
Okay, so here's how to use
the
a
only
Ouija
plus of
board.
that.
Here's the how to use a Ouija board. We went to how not to use it. Now let's go to the actual instructions. Now I got the... I went to WikiHow and got the 10-second summary. It's going to take us more than 10 seconds. I can already tell. Jack. So, number 1.
What?
find at least one other person to play with you. 2, see, isn't that part of the reason most kids get things like Ouija boards and video games? Because they don't have any friends to play with? Like,
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, man, when I was a kid, hey, you read a lot of books. I'm like, yeah, hey, I don't have any friends. Like, what the fuck? Of course I'm going to fucking find no one to play. I'm going to have my stuffed animal to play a Ouija board with. What about your imaginary friends? Can you have your imaginary friend play the Ouija board with you?
It might become real if you do that.
What if fuck, if you're playing with them, it might as well already be real. I mean, maybe you'll have more imaginary friends after that
Well, imaginary
session.
friends, you don't need to use the Ouija board, do you?
I guess. 2, pick a person to ask the questions. So one person needs to be asking the questions. Apparently it's too confusing for the spirit world to answer more than one person's questions. 3, place your fingers on the planchette. Not Blanche. I read Blanche first and I thought of the Golden Girls and both got aroused and vomitous at the same time. Love me some Blanche. But it's planchette, guys. Number 4, ask your questions.
What?
Yeah, you're supposed
You
to
actually ask questions?
Yeah, and then I guess the Ouija board does stuff with the planchette or something, or you do stuff with the Ouija board, and then you
The
get
demon
answers.
does something with you afterwards.
Maybe that's what happened to Metal World Peace in that hotel.
Oh my god.
Demon Knights. That could be our second strip club next to Skinwalkers.
Oh god.
Demon Knights.
Don't we get sued by Billy Zane? Poor Billy Zane.
No, Demon Knights. You just gotta spell it different so it's not stealing the idea.
That's a good point. Do you think Billy Zane would actually show up to the opening?
Oh my god, dude, if we open this, Billy Zane, and you somehow hear this, you'll be our guest of honor and have VIP with the sexiest,
Free bottle service.
with the hottest stripper we have with the most teeth we can find.
Yes.
That will be, yeah, and if you want to partner with us, it could be J. Jack and Billy Z's Demon Knights.
You think he
Strip
wants to
club.
go by Billy Z?
Billy Z.
Maybe it'll just be like Billy Zane and then in really small letters.
Billy
J.
Zed.
Jackson.
Oh, you can go by Billy Zed too. Hit the paranormal aspect like it's zombies.
He doesn't take bath
The
salts.
Zed words. How do you know?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I think Billy Zane is on his own high. He's pretty cool.
He is pretty fucking cool. He's living on a plane of existence above other spearballed actors of his in his area.
Well, his head is perfectly rounded, so.
Yeah, it is. Vin Diesel ain't got that.
Yeah, Vin Diesel doesn't have anything on Billy
He
Zane.
doesn't have anything except for 120 pounds
Of muscle.
and probably enormous amounts of pent up rage. So, that said, Vin Diesel, if you listen to this, Jack's the one making fun of you.
Wait, what?
I think you were great in Triple X.
He was.
He was. And I
He
use
was
the
still
term
Fast
great
and
very
Furious.
loosely. Very loosely, I use the term great for Triple X.
Fast and the Furious was definitely.
He made that movie. I mean,
Yeah,
because that Triple X was okay, but with him, it was okayer.
Yeah.
It would have been bad.
And he's fucking hilarious on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Is he? I don't
Yeah, if you ever watch his Facebook shit, he's funny shit. Go watch Vin Diesel's fucking Facebook stuff. He's funny.
All right, so number 5, focus and wait for the planchette to move. Could you imagine just sitting there and waiting for something to happen and just not having anything happen on the Ouija board? I wonder if you guys, has anyone ever had that happen though? You never hear
let me
stories.
ask you something.
Yeah, we played with the Ouija board. It was creepy because nothing fucking happened.
Let me ask you something. How pathetic of a person do you have to be that not even a demon will show up to your fucking Ouija board session?
Well, I don't know, man. We keep going to the demon thing, but really, it wasn't even referred to demonically until later on, because spirit boards, again, have been around forever.
Well, that's fine, but how sad do you have to be that not even a demon or an evil spirit would show up knowing he could fuck with you? It's just like, no, this guy's kind of sad. I'm going to go over here.
What if the demon just felt bad for you? It's like, he needs a friend. He's playing alone. I will help him move this planchette. And give you, positive affirmations from the demon world,
You're a good guy. Don't worry about it, buddy.
my hellhounds think you smell delightful. How would demons compliment someone through the Ouija board aside from my hellhounds think you smell delightful?
I'm not going to steal your soul.
You almost take the sulfur smell out of my nose.
I plan on only haunting people I don't like.
Your eyes have a fire in them brighter than the burning pit that I'm in. How does this work? I don't know how demons compliment people that way.
Your mother doesn't suck cocks in hell.
Bro. You gotta go with mothers. Come on, son.
The Exorcist.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is, huh? And that's loosely Ouija related.
Yeah.
So yeah, the original Ouija story, the original Exorcist story, if you guys don't know, is a true story that wasn't even about a girl. It was about a young boy, and his mother and his aunt were really into the spiritualist movement.
Yep.
And I'm going to paraphrase the story here. It's creepy, and you can read into it. It's really fucking creepy. But I'll go into the quicker version of it. Aunt teaches kid to play with Ouija board. Mom is really involved with things. Demons start carving into kids' flesh. Mom keeps asking the demonic presence questions. and getting answers by having the demon carve into this kid's flesh while the kid's being tormented. Mom finally decides to go for help after all this shit's going on. Goes to a spiritualist who can't help. Then they go to a church who finally refer them to another Catholic situation. Kid gets put in a hospital. There's a huge exorcism that goes on. The entire hospital floor gets shut down forever. It never gets used again. All the furniture gets moved around to somewhere else. Like, the whole hospital floor was just shut down forever. He was the only one on it. Yeah, it was so bad what happened there that, like, things were still going on in the hospital, I guess. And every person that was working in the hospital would tell stories about what was going on in the hospital at the time.
But no one would go back to that floor, though.
No one would go back to that floor. And that kid lived for quite a while. He's gone now, I'm sure. But could you imagine being that kid, like, and having the Exorcist movie made after you and knowing it's about you? And what it comes from is, I guess there was this Catholic, the priest that was there doing the exorcism actually kept a notebook about it. And that's where it comes from. And it wasn't meant for external use. It was meant for use in the Catholic Church.
I think the notebook is fucked, but I think that hospital thing would be even scarier, to be honest.
Well, I think the hospital's shut down now. You can go see it, like, it's still in existence.
I'm thinking urban exploration.
Well, before you urbex it, let's make sure it's actually not occupied from another business or something.
That's a good point.
A lot of those places do get abandoned, but a lot of them get turned into other things. And, but yeah, a lot of things that were said in, like, a lot of demonic things that would happen at the hospital. Like, one nurse is saying that the religious figure statues' heads would be missing and shit. But so the Ouija was part of that. But it turns out in the end, the mom was asking questions about the sister's money that she had buried somewhere. And so it was all based on the mother's freaking greed that this kid was being tormented. I mean, where is the CPS of the spirit realm at these days?
I know, where the fuck are the angels showing up like, we have to arrest you currently for torturing your son?
You can't even run into a store with your 9-year-old in the car with a cracked window for 20 minutes.
CPS lets you torture your son with demons with a Ouija board.
Yeah, have your flesh carved with demonic presences and shit. But, yeah, so the Ouija board really took a turn to the demonic in mainstream after the Exorcist movie. So that's when it became more, and there were letters of evil things happening prior, and the church has frowned upon it, the spirit boards, and any kind of divination for that matter, for a long, long time. So it's not like a new deal, but it wasn't until more recently that it became, you're communicating with demonic presences. People thought they were communicating, or they think they're communicating still, with spirits. Even ghost hunters still use these things. Like paranormal investigators still use the Ouija board out. They'll take them to some haunted locations, not all of them, but some. But and then people freak out. But you think about it, they use their all their ghost hunting tools, the EVP machines and K2 meters and stuff. And I'm sure people do freak out once in a while, but they're communicating. These things start going off. Do they just shut down and freak out and stay away from it?
Hold on.
Like,
there's a difference in my opinion.
I don't think there's a difference between a piece of fucking cardboard and a piece of plastic and some ink and an electronic device.
That piece of cardboard is supposed to be opening a door. You're inviting something from potentially distances away.
If you're trying to communicate with the dead, you're opening a door if it's able to communicate to you at all.
With yourself.
So if you it doesn't matter though. You're still using the energy around you and yourself to communicate. Even with that electronic device, the idea is your energy still goes out there and it's just able to pick up onto this device. So there's still energy there. The energy's still in existence. It's still part of this. To me, it's part and parcel of the same deal. If you're gonna now I'm not gonna mess with the Ouija board just because it's hard for me to get around the idea, you know? Because yeah, you're opening a door, but I'm also not really going out and looking for things too much either. Like
yeah.
I have done some paranormal investigations. I haven't used a ton of tools. I usually go out and try to debunk like the house settling funny and stuff like that, you know, or try to get a good psychological profile of the person that's having this experiences. Because like the house I live in now, my neighbors swore up and down when I first moved in and it was haunted because of a tragedy that occurred in the house. And we knew about what happened in here, and I have never had a single experience. But my sister-in-law was familiar with the person that this tragedy befell in the house, and the other babies, she was babysitting with a friend of hers here one day, and the closet door in the hallway just opened.
Yeah, I
and
totally
freaked
seen
out,
those
kept opening once in a while. And the hallway closet, if you step in certain parts of the house, will pop open.
Oh, because you do airflow then.
Yes, it's just how the house is built. Sometimes houses get older. This house is 50 plus years old, which isn't old in this area, but it's older. You know, it's not brand new, and things do settle over time.
Yeah.
You know, and things shift and change. So, plus there was a fire in the house, and a lot of the stuff had to be fixed at one point, and things like that. So they did a lot of remodeling construction. When you do stuff like that, things shift even more. So yeah. But, so the Ouija board, I mean, I don't know. I don't go looking for stuff. Like I said, people were convinced they were seeing stuff in my house. People still say they're seeing things. I've never seen anything. None of my family's ever seen anything. And it's just, yeah, I don't know. Because I go to places that there's activity, and I'll be like, yeah, there's something going on here, just walking in the door a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, that does happen. I mean, like, even in my place, I always feel like there's something around. Like, I think I've said that before. Like, I got scratched.
Yeah, but where you live, remember, our uncle used to live, because Jack lives in some apartments, and our uncle used to live in an apartment directly across from his unit. And I was over there one day, and they were always talking about the ghosts in the apartment and stuff. And I was sitting in their living room once, and a picture on the wall actually lifted up off the wall about a foot, came out from the wall, and hung itself back on the wall. And I'm watching it like, I first saw it move out of the corner of my eye, and then I like turned my eyes enough to where I could see it, but not really pay too much attention, like facing it, and watch it go up and then back down. Everything got really quiet. And my uncle and his wife were sitting on the couch, not facing it, but it was beside them, and my uncle just smiled and goes, "Saw it, did you?" Like, yes, I did.
Saw that shit,
So,
did ya?
yeah, there's something. So maybe there's something at your place. I don't know. I've never experienced anything there, but
I don't think if there's anything malicious at my place, I think I don't think it's like, I don't think it has enough strength to do shit. Because, like, stuff has moved. Like, our mother has proclaimed that shit falls off the shelves.
Our mother also is a self-proclaimed psychic. From a long line of psychics.
Oh, I'm a psychic.
You're not a psychic. You're a psycho.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. That's what it was.
All right, so the next one is move the planchette to the word goodbye when you are done playing. So we went right back to the rules. It only took us 10 minutes, but we got there again. So rule 6, like I said, this 10-second summary did not work out so well with our conversations.
No.
Move the planchette to the word goodbye when you are done playing.
Now, why would you need to say goodbye?
Because it shuts down the board. It closes the door. Because the stories that I've heard that are terrible are usually like they get scared because something happens with the board and they forget to close the board out. It's what they call closing out the board. And then things follow them home and things keep going amiss.
You know, while I'm chewing peanuts, trying to make a statement here, it makes me wonder if on the other side, with how old Ouija boards are, if they just hear the old AOL thing of goodbye.
Goodbye. I wonder if it's more like the demons are just pissed off because you left the door open. Hey, we born in a barn?
Barn, bitch, shut the door!
Close the door, it's getting drafty in hell. You're letting all the heat out.
Letting
all the heat out. Yeah, okay, that's probably not the case. So how does the Ouija board work, you might ask yourself? Well, I looked into something called the ideomotor effect or response. Basically, it's a psychological phenomenon where a subject makes motions subconsciously or unconsciously. So you're sitting there, and deep down, you're kind of expecting something to happen, because that's how it always really works with people on the Ouija board. Even the people that don't believe in it, you've kind of committed once you put your fingers on it. Otherwise, you wouldn't even do it, because you're trying to see, you want to see a grown man piss himself, convince him that who doesn't believe in the Ouija board to play it with you, and then just insist vehemently that you didn't move it and start acting really scared and watch what he fucking does. It's hilarious. I haven't used one, but I've seen it done. And later my friend's like, yeah, that was just me fucking.
Let me explain what happened with me if you were playing with the Ouija board with me. It would go like this. The planchette would start to move, and then it would stop immediately, no matter what supernatural or non-supernatural force was attempting to move it. And then people would be like, why is it moving? I'd be like, because I put every ounce of pressure on this fucking thing possible, because I don't want to know.
Jack, why are you on your tippy toes?
Why are you're holding like you're pressing it down like you're trying to weightlift?
Why is Jack floating in the air?
He's doing a push-up on the planchette. What's going on?
So it's either that or it's clearly demons. It's one of two things. You can't.
It's either someone dicking with you or a demon.
Now, there's also a story I read about someone using the Ouija board and getting in contact with Bigfoot.
Oh, for the love of God!
That's how awesome these stories are, guys.
Please lead into that story.
Oh man, I didn't even write it down because it's misleading. The article is like Bigfoot and the Ouija board, and I can't remember what website it was. I didn't bother saving it because it doesn't actually say they contacted the Squatch. They allude to it and they say it in the title, but basically they're playing with the Ouija board and it moves and they close it out and the lights turn off and they freak out and everybody leaves the next morning when the sleepover's over. And so the girl's alone the next night, and it's exactly 6 o'clock, the same time, the lights go out again, and her parents are gone, and then she's in her room, and she sees this big, hairy-looking figure show up in her bedroom after hearing an animal screeching outside in the woods, howling and making weird whoop, whoop, whoop sounds. Yeah, how's that? Whoop, whoop, whoop. I can't even do it. Guys, I don't have one of those chimpanzee vocal boxes, so there you go. I don't think that's even right either. Yeah, so that's it. It doesn't actually say it was a Sasquatch. It alludes to it, and then it vanishes again, and she never sees it again. So it's kind of anticlimactic there. That's why I didn't save the story.
If it was a Sasquatch, it was really bored.
Maybe just a really bored Sasquatch spirit.
Just showed up one day like, what's up?
Wait, do Sasquatches have souls? Can they play the saxophone? I don't believe they can even play bass.
People I know that can play the saxophone don't have souls, so it's okay.
Yeah, well. So now, to the question we've all really been wondering, I know it's been on your mind as soon as we said Ouija, is it possible to make contact with extraterrestrials via the Ouija
Yeah, I don't
board?
think a single person was thinking that at all.
Yeah, no, I had to type that in because I was like, I wonder who wrote that. And actually, all the things I've read is basically a bunch of people that believe in aliens are like, Ouija boards aren't real. There's no such thing as ghosts.
Wait a minute.
Aliens. Like, no, really, that's every thread I went to. It was a bunch of UFOologist nerds, and not all guys that are UFOologists are nerds, and if they are, they're probably proud to be called a nerd, so I don't know why I'm apologizing
I'm a
for
nerd.
that.
I'll take it.
Yeah, whatever.
I wear nerd proudly.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, everybody, guys, put this into context. Every one of these guys on these threads, and I read a few of these threads from these big alien websites, and every one of these guys was like, how stupid are you, dude? There's no such thing as ghosts.
You know how hard
Aliens
I just had to
don't even believe in ghosts.
I'm face palming so
seriously,
hard
they're
right
like,
now.
it's a made-up thing. They're not real. There's no even evidence of ghosts. And I'm like, bro, you're talking about fucking aliens, though. Like,
It's
but
a
there's
war
no
between
such
the
thing
ghosts.
as ghosts.
It's the war between the supernatural believers and the alien believers.
Like, how you have, like, these are the same guys that'll say, you have to be really arrogant to think there's no chance of other life in the universe. And then the same breath, they'll turn around and say, what the fuck do you think you believe in ghosts for? How dumb are you? There's no such thing as ghosts.
They're aliens.
There's no evidence of ghosts. Like, come on, guys, it's the same fucking thing. If you take it down to it, it's something you don't understand, you don't know about. You don't have all the answers. Put it back in your pocket protector. All right? Jesus.
Their man purse.
Can you imagine, like, the collective hard-on every UFO believer gets at one time when an alien ship just finally shows up in the atmosphere and makes first contact?
I still go with God, I wish I could remember this comedian. I think it was C.K. Lewis or Bill Burr. Said, wouldn't it be fucked up if they showed up and they were Native American? Like, what the hell did you do? Shit, here comes punishment.
Do you have any more Ouija stuff to throw in there?
Oh,
Should I
fuck
start
yeah.
reading some stories?
I got something. Hold on.
All right, good.
All right, everybody. Prepare to have the reason why you don't use what I am now dubbing the stupid choices board.
The bad decision board.
The bad decision.
BDB.
The bad decision board. So most people, they talk about demons. Like I was saying, demons.
I don't think most people talk about demons like we do. Most people are sitting around the dinner.
Well, when people
It's
talk about Ouija
Thanksgiving.
board, people talk about
Hey,
have
Ted,
demons.
heard about any good demons lately? Well, sure, Chet. How can you pass me the mashed potatoes? I'll tell you all about it. I don't think most people just talk about demons all the time.
There's one demon in particular with the Ouija board that comes up, and when people talk about demons, I don't know how many people know about this one, but I imagine a lot because it's not exactly unknown.
Yeah.
And particularly this one because I believe this is the demon that's been around. It's been around for 100 years, I guess. People talked about it throughout history.
100 years of history.
Like I think it was
Hundreds of
1902 or
years,
1906 was the first time it was actually seen.
Oh, okay.
And it's been seen since then. And on multiple occasions, the exorcism was actually, I believe it had this particular demon's name is Pazuzu, or Pazuzu, or Zozo.
Zozo. Something like a Zozo.
Yeah, I think its actual name is Pazuzu.
I thought Zozo was because where the Z and the O are on the board, it goes back and forth there a lot, so people say Zozo.
But I think its actual name, its full name.
So they're not paying attention to all the letters or something, you think?
No, it's saying Zozo over again because I imagine it's. I think it gets stuck, like it lags like a computer, and it just kind of goes. So it gets stuck, and then it doesn't know how to move the planet.
So if you guys
its
ever wonder
mouse
about the
in hell
demon
gets
of
stuck on the
dial-up,
computer.
So that's hell for Jack. You have dial-up in hell.
It's a dial-up demon, and so it's the most common demon to see on Ouija boards, and they warn against this one because, like I said,
with?
yeah, okay, well, communicate with.
It.
Well, you see signs of it. Like I'll get to that in a minute, but
Okay.
it's been reported a couple hundred times. It's reported on you'll find it on blogs, paranormal sites, and I think even more credible people.
So this isn't just a creepypasta.
No, this is reported. This is like I even think Ghost Hunters had an episode on it.
Okay.
And I think Zach Bagans, something like that. He even reported on it. This particular demon has a tendency to come out of the Ouija board because I guess it just has nothing better to do than wait around for stupid people to make stupid decisions about stupid things and summon an evil demon. It goes by like more than just Zozo and Pazuzu. It's like Zaza. And it's fucking stupid.
Zsa Zsa Gabor.
It's bored. It's got no other things.
Zuzu Gabor. It's one of them.
It's often related to like poltergeist activity, like attacks. It moves shit around your house. It's been known to for those of you out there who are prone to have triggerings, It's been known for trigger alert. It's been known to commit sexual assault.
Are we triggering? Are we doing trigger alerts on this? I don't think we're
No,
doing trigger
but
alerts.
I'm mocking people who need them. So
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. We do not need a Tumblr hate page on this.
look, I mean, I understand that some people need it, but some people just don't.
If there was only one host for each gender available to humanity on this show. Oh, there is. Go ahead.
Shut up. There are some that claim he was linked to deaths. I never found any credible sources for that, but there's claims that he's linked to deaths, suicides.
Well, I mean, people
committing
blame
murder.
the Ouija board all the time for their crimes. Like, there's lots of
I
people
think
that
there
have been
was
arrested
even-
for murdering
well-
someone. Well, I was playing on the Ouija board, and the demon told me to do this.
Actually, that happened before. There was
It's happened a lot.
there was a murder in Texas that a kid was
It's happened in
involved
town.
in a Ouija board, and he said that he was. People think that he was contacted by Zozo. Even the Amityville Horror, Pazuzu was supposedly involved in that.
I do think I heard that somewhere.
But I mean, that's sketchy because I think people just tagline that
well,
honestly.
the Amityville Horror, like
that wasn't even a Ouija board. That was just a gate to hell, supposedly.
I think that I read that I think it was the Lutzes were the second family, the ones that the show was about. Actually came out and said it was bullshit later on, or their publicist said it was all a publicity stunt because of the murder that had happened there with.
Yeah, but I bet it made them a lot of money, to be honest.
Oh, it did. It made them a ton of money.
And I imagine what happened was they got in on buying that house.
Could you imagine?
They got too much and they needed out.
Could you imagine how hard it would be and how lonely it would be to be the kids of that couple who did that? And then you'd be rich, but you'd be very lonely because,
well, like I said,
no, my parents made it up. Look, I have a Maserati. Take your haunted Maserati and park it somewhere else, buddy.
I think what honestly happened was that they got into the house. It was expensive, and what happened was because there was a murder there, it wasn't quite as expensive. They thought they could afford it. He probably lost his job or something like that. He couldn't afford to make the payments, and so there's a catch-22. They just used the previous murder.
He was still working.
As
I think
a
he lost
haunting.
his job. I used to have a book somewhere.
They may not have been able to afford it or something like that. Something could have happened, and they just needed out of the contract. And they needed out. They wanted their money back essentially, and so what they did was they just used the previous murders, supposedly a haunting and stuff like that, to get out of it. To be honest, people, and I know people are going to get mad at me for saying that, but that is the most Occam's razor I can give you. Like that would make more sense than just saying, "Oh yeah, pig demons were running around killing people."
Hey, whoa, hey! Don't make fun of orcs. We just made those.
I mean, okay, fine.
We killed the one supposedly.
What?
Supposedly we killed that orc.
I don't think that's what orcs are. Orcs are elves.
No, they're pig people things.
No, they're
Shut up. They're pig people things.
fine. Okay.
Pig people things. Half man, half bear, and half pig.
A man in Oklahoma had a run-in with Zozo.
I did hear about this a little bit.
While making poor life decisions with an Ouija board, with his girlfriend, who should have also said, "We're not going to fucking do this." That should have been the beginning of that and the end. The demon gave him information, presumably on how to not make stupid choices. He became obsessed with the Ouija board until the demon became, shockingly, the demon became sinister.
Oh.
The demon became sinister, everyone.
Did he know it was a demon to begin with?
He probably thought it was his aunt's, uncle's, sister's, cousin's brother from college or something like that.
Okay.
Like all demons or spirits
So you're saying
are.
the Schwartz was not strong with this guy?
Yes, he wasn't paying enough attention.
Okay.
Let me explain something to you. Like I said, is what this guy did was stupid, and I'm gonna explain. I'll get into a little bit more in a second, but seriously, if you're gonna screw around with an Ouija board, follow the rules as Jay put them forward. Even though you're gonna have to kind of listen for a bit to find them,
Or Google it.
or Google it. But always say goodbye. Like that seems to be exactly what the pressure is. There is say goodbye. Close the fuck. And if you see, I'll explain the rules for Zozo, by the way, because there are rules on how to avoid Zozo or how to get away from Zozo. Now, eventually he had a breakdown. He believed demons were following him. The demon claimed he was going to steal the man's daughter's soul, and she nearly died afterwards. I don't know. They didn't go into detail what happened to her, but she almost died, like shortly after this claim. And that's when he finally decided that he was going to try and get rid of this demon. He performed an exorcism, and I guess the demon was finally out of their lives. And so now he actually runs a website. I wish I had written down his name. It was Evan something. And I don't know if this story's real, but he runs a website warning people about Zozo.
No, I've actually heard this story though. I think that someone actually did a documentary on it. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. I had heard somewhere on it. Maybe on another podcast or something.
Now he's going around telling people, he runs his website trying to tell people not to fuck with stupid shit. Don't screw with Zozo. Don't do it. And there's actually things to show. I'm actually about to go over on how to see.
Well, it's like, okay,
if it is.
but here's the thing too. Like, do you go, hey, who's this? Oh, it's Zozo, the demon guy. Hey, how's it going? I'm a demon. Nice to meet you. Or does it pretend to be somebody else?
You know, I mean, I think
Because you think a demon, if he's really going to be malicious, he would change his name at this point, because now people that are playing with the Ouija board probably have heard his name.
if he feeds off fear, people are stupid and they're like lemmings. A lot of times people will run into the burning building just to see what's happening.
Yeah, I guess.
That's it's curiosity. You know, the old saying, "Curiosity killed the cat." With humanity, it's especially true.
So, guys, a new rule for playing with the Ouija board: think of the children first.
Think of the children.
Well, that's a big thing. Think about, like, the Exorcist thing. The kid's aunt taught him how to play with the Ouija board.
Yeah.
The kid is the one that got tormented.
Yeah, and his mom's the one who tormented him.
In this story, it was the guy's daughter was being threatened.
Yeah. Well, he stopped immediately after what happened to his daughter. He stopped. He got obsessed with it. But once that happened with his daughter, and things got a little crazy, hectic around the house.
More than one of my rules. He got obsessed. Yeah.
And then his daughter got in trouble. And then immediately after his daughter was threatened, he quit. He got an exorcism. He fixed it. Here are some things to wait to tell if Pazuzu or Zozo are attempting to come in. I don't know how accurate this could possibly be, because honestly it's so vague, it's funny. Rapid movements of the planchette, or if you're using a pendulum, it'll start to swing rapidly. This is a sign that Pazuzu, or I guess that would be
people
any
use
demon.
A pendulum over it?
Some people do, I believe.
Well, how are you going to do that if you got two people?
I have no idea.
Are you both going to hold the string, maybe? I'm not being sarcastic. I'm just trying to figure out how
if you use pendulums on a Ouija board, let us know how it works.
Yeah, if you guys know anything about this stuff, if you practice this kind of thing regularly, if you're like a medium or something, or a ghost hunter, or any other kind of like spiritualist and stuff, and you have a lot of experience with the Ouija board or the talking boards, give us an email at vanishinggates@gmail.com and let us know where we're missing things or what we haven't tied into yet, because we don't know a ton still. Like we always revert back to, we're still a pretty young podcast, and those stuff is really interesting. It's hard to vocalize everything we think of, so we make these notes and we try to come out with a good amount of information, and we don't try to be too false with it. So if you have more information, educate us on it and just email us and let us know.
And the next thing is his name. He'll spell the fuck out for you like Deadpool. He'll tell you. He'll let you know. It's not.
His name is Francis?
His name is fucking. If it comes out Francis, keep talking, because I want to know the story.
If you guys haven't seen Deadpool, you probably shouldn't listen to this episode. Too late. Spoilers.
You'll start to feel uneasy, dread, heavy weight upon you'll feel heavy, like you'll feel weighted down with dread and all sorts of just uncomfortable shit.
Black-eyed kids.
Shadow figures and stuff like that will start moving around the room. It'll get darker all of a sudden in the room, potentially. Like, even all the lights are on, everything like that, but it'll just seem to get oppressively dark.
Yeah.
These are all the signs that Zozo is there, and he's starting to come near you. And these are the rules, basically.
That actually makes sense, because I've encountered that when I've been around, like, demonic presences and stuff.
Yeah, he basically starts to suck the light out of the room.
It's like, it's not dimmer, but it's just darker. It's hard to explain.
It feels darker, and it actually, like, it physically, I guess, gets darker. Like,
it gets darker, but like, you can look at the light and it'll still be just as bright as it is, but everything will be dark. It's kind of hard to explain.
It's really tough unless you've been there. Like, if you've been there, let us know at vanishinggates with 2Gs at gmail.com. Give us your story. Let us know.
I said that twice in like 2 minutes.
Yes. I'm going to say, well, I did say that again. Fuck you. Anyways, so here are the rules to help break the connection with Zozo, which are literally what I think are the rules for breaking with anything, honestly.
I break with the thief, and then
he's there.
Throw poop on their shoe. No?
Remain calm. Demons and spirits feed off fear, and remain, calm, breathe steady, try not to freak yourself out. Don't get all crazy, because what you're going to do is you're going to fuel him with any kind of fear or anxiety you have. You need to just remain focused and close the session, move to goodbye. If you fuck this up, you do not pass go, and he collects your soul. Okay, that's actually how it happens.
And guys, if you've played with the Ouija board and you start wondering if you're possessed, first things first, go see a psychiatrist.
Yes.
And I don't mean this to be in a negative fashion, but again, I've been around people who come
the power of suggestion is powerful.
When I was involved in ministry, people would come thinking they were possessed, and what it really was is they needed to be medicated and needed some counseling.
Or the power of suggestion.
Well, that too. I mean, so there have been people who believe their children are possessed by demons, and there's like that, what's that, psych disorder, where you, Munchausen by proxy. So Munchausen is when you convince yourself and everyone around you that you have some kind of illness or another, and you believe it and you push it so hard to get things from other people.
Yeah, it's basically a way to get attention.
Yeah, or whatever.
People kill their children with this stuff.
Well, yeah, that's what Munchausen by proxy is. So Munchausen, if you have Munchausen, you're doing that to yourself. But if you have Munchausen by proxy, it means that you're putting it on someone else. It's usually your child. And there have been situations, there was a murder where a woman had convinced everyone her daughter had cancer, and was just basically just poisoning her daughter her whole life. Didn't even tell her real age, and just had milked it for all sorts of money until the daughter and her boyfriend finally snapped and murdered the mother. And now suddenly the daughter's in prison doing quite well because she's out of that oppressive, horrible environment. And yeah, the mother needed to justifiably be either killed or whatever so that kid could be free.
There's things
but now
that are
she's going to be
happening.
in prison for 10
There's
or
a new
15
version
years.
of it nowadays, but it's more like exploiting your children and stuff like that.
It's the
People
same
do
thing.
a lot of exploitation.
There's smaller versions of it, but it's the same thing.
like Dance Moms,
Oh, God.
Munchausen by proxy.
Dude,
Horrible.
oh, Jesus. Yeah, it is.
Anyway, so number 3. There's 4 rules to this. Number 3 is don't say his name. Never say his fucking name. Avoid talking to him.
Even with a question mark?
Don't say his name.
Well, we've said his name like 1,000 times in this podcast.
I mean, no. When it's open and you think he's there, don't say his name because what it does is it gives him power. You're acknowledging he exists. You're acknowledging that he's there. You're giving him strength, and he comes through even harder. So if you think he's there with all the signs I told you already, if those signs are there, do not say his name. Close out the session. Say goodbye. Remain calm. And 4, if he isn't gone, you should hide. Never mind.
Okay, so the second part was saying, if he's not gone, you think you're possessed, and
a
the
priest or a
psychiatry doesn't
rabbi.
help, go to a minister or a priest.
Or a
and find
professional
someone
of some
help
sort
you.
that could help you.
Yeah,
because
usually
people like for instance the Warrens. They weren't. I think her husband was ordained, but you know the
well,
thing.
he was involved with the church.
They
That's how he got his
will
church
actually
support.
generally psychics things like that. If you do find one, they will generally point you eventually to the church or a rabbi.
Or mediums can tend to make it. Now, guys, if you're a medium and you help, that's fine. Spiritual healer's cool. I know people that have gotten much worse after seeing psychics and mediums. And it's not anything
You can
against
also
them.
you can also find a spirit healer for like Indian or native if you know natives.
I'm
They're pretty
sure
good at
if
it.
you go on Craigslist and find you a spiritual help, there'll be someone to pop
Well, you can
up,
find
and you'll
shamans.
probably end up worse than you
I've
started.
heard many stories of shamans that have helped and Ouija board sessions. In fact, I can't remember what story. One of the stories I was reading was that's actually how they got rid of the demon in their house. They had I can't remember, a spirit healer from a local tribe come and bless the house and then destroy the Ouija board with them. And he did a blessing over it, and then everything just stopped, like it was over.
Huh. Well, yeah, a lot of that goes down to contacting your higher power, whether it's whatever, and that's what breaks a lot of these.
Yeah, I think it's also part of
situations.
belief is that when like with I think especially with like God and stuff like that is what you believe. If you believe in something so powerfully that I think you basically override whatever the hell the thing is that's sticking around.
Here's another thing too, like if you're playing with the Ouija board and your house is consistently trashed and garbage is everywhere, and you're like just living a terrible, filthy lifestyle, you're probably going to draw something to you.
Oh yeah,
Because these things, the evil things, do tend to organize around chaos.
yeah, they love
It
chaos.
really is a thing. And there was a show on, it was it was on Sci-Fi Channel for a while, I don't think it's still on anymore, but the guy was an actual real exorcist. And he would go to places and he would tell you the difference if you had psychological problems or if you're possessed. One of the things he'd tell you is make sure your household is cleaned up. Because these things like clutter. So if you're going to play with the Ouija board, make sure your life is kind of clean. Now here's the other thing, too, I want to ask you, Jack, what you think. Now, demons aren't all powerful and able. There's like one of each kind. There's like they each are individual. You know what I mean? They're not omnipresent. They can't be everywhere at one time.
Yeah.
So, if say 100 people were playing with the Ouija board at one time, why would it just go to one place?
We
Well,
are
it would
legion.
have to. It would have to go to one place. Well, we're talking about one particular Zozo guy or whatever his name
But
is.
it's probably not just.
He's just one dude.
But
though.
that's the thing is that name is famous, Pazuzu Pazozo.
So could that just be the demon's name for themselves? Like
That could be
particular
basically
group of
like saying,
demons
"I
that
am
just
Legion."
pay attention to that kind of thing.
Well, it could be like I am Legion. It's you open the door. They know this is the one most people are most afraid of, that the one they're seeking. And so lesser things that don't have the strength that this one might actually have, they show up thinking they can garner all the strength that he had. They basically lie. It's like, what is it? The most famous thing that people can say about demons is they will always lie to you. They do not tell the truth.
Well, I'm sure they'll tell you the truth, just enough truth to make you believe their lies.
Yeah, well, that's what one thing I tell people is don't trust a demon. Never. If you're talking to a spirit, okay, you can't see it, you can't touch it.
Don't trust any spirit you're contacting with the
Be
Ouija
very
board. Just
fucking weary.
Be leery of everything. You know what I mean?
Ask questions that only you and one other person might fucking know.
Don't even do that, because think about it. If this thing's just there to distract you and get your attention, it could be whispering things into your head. You know what I mean, or into your
Yeah, you never know
spiritual
how powerful
presence.
they are.
Yeah, you never know what's really going on. So you might be thinking of one thing, like, well, I'm going to trick this thing and think of something. Well, maybe that thing's whispering it in your ear and you don't even hear it. You know?
Well, the thing
So
is,
you
it's
can't
like,
trust that either.
for instance, the Zozo that was at the Exorcist house might be the original. Like, think about it like this, okay? So, like, when they say they're Legion, they lie to you, they'll lie, they'll try to get power. So there's going to be a hierarchy in some way. There's going to be weak things and strong things. That's always how nature is. So, if they exist, then Zozo at the exorcism was cutting up dead children, haunted an entire hospital wing, powerful, strong fucking thing that could do that. the one that you're contacting might just be some lesser thing that can show up and fuck with you a little
Yeah,
bit.
but at the same time, though, the mom was a big spiritualist, and she kept putting energy into the talking to this thing while it was cutting her kid up. So it was her energy that was doing it. She kept feeding it. You know, it's like that old Indian proverb. You know, you're in a battle with two wolves, a good one and a bad one, and the guy asks, "Well, which one wins?" Is the one you feed wins. That's the one that wins. So whichever wolf you're going to feed is the one that's going to come out on top.
Yeah.
It's the same concept, I think, there. I mean, maybe a little more loosely based.
And
but
on top of that, I think
she
it might have been getting parent for the fact that, what is it, this is the flesh of my flesh thing, that she's connected to her son, and she was basically willing to sacrifice her son's health to basically, to manipulate
I don't think there's anything. I don't think that you're guilty for your parents' sins. I don't believe in the general. I don't buy into the
I don't mean that. I just mean the fact that she was willing to make such an evil sacrifice. She was basically...
Well, it's all about greed, and greed is like the most evil thing. It's like the most driving force of evil. Is greed.
Yeah, and I think that's essentially what it was, is that she was being, she was driven by greed, and then she was willing to sacrifice her son with such a deep amount of greed.
She did eventually, I guess, turn around much later on and realize that she was wrong in all of this.
Oh my God, really?
When things started to turn around, in the original story, when things started to turn around is when she took off and the husband took over. Because the husband wasn't really privy to all of this. He was busy trying to keep things afloat and financially, and finally she's like, I can't do this anymore, I gotta leave. And he took over, and that's when things started to take a turn for the better. Because she got the hell out of there. And he had been busting his ass trying to do the right thing so long. He wasn't being greedy. And when she left, when that energy of greed left, that's when the kids started to come around. And when they were able to exercise the presence. So I don't even know if the kid was actually possessed himself or was just being pumped full of this energy and being oppressed in a way that made it seem like he was possessed.
She could have been carving him up for all we know.
No, I mean, there was witnesses that saw it happen when she wasn't even in the room. So,
well, I think, then it could be... God,
I mean, there are evil things.
Totally lost
there are demonic presences. There are evil forces. People can be evil too. I mean, think about it. If they're supposed to be different than us, well, I mean, they're slightly different, but evil's evil. People are capable of both amazing acts of kindness and love, or horrible acts of terror and evil.
It's kind of like you said. Is she could have been at that point. She could have been so far along that her greed had allowed to whisper in her ear, and she was basically just starting to hear what it was telling her to do.
And you got to think, she opened herself up really thoroughly too with her
she basically just opened the door completely, threw that bitch wide open.
Yeah, I mean, so she wasn't down for shutting this stuff off. She wasn't even concerned about her son that much. She was more concerned about finding that money.
Yeah, and all sorts of other shit apparently. Because I mean, imagine if she would have gotten the money sooner.
Well, there's like, there was a medium who got a hold of her husband one day and said, "Hey, I got to kill myself. The Ouija board told me to. The spirit in the board told me to take strychnine and arsenic. Bye." So he said, "I'll see you soon," and then poisoned herself.
See you soon.
Like, after becoming super obsessed with the Ouija board. So, there is somewhat, I don't know if it's just a power of suggestion mixed with a bunch of other things, or if there's really something evil and sinister going on. But again, there's been tons of people that have goofed around with the Ouija board that's never had anything happen.
Yeah, I mean...
At all. Like,
I know, we know people I don't think that have ever had anything happen when they've touched it.
I don't know, but you never hear those stories because it's much more fun to say, oh, well, man... The lights started flickering, and books are flying off the shelves, and blood started pouring out of the ceiling on the walls.
Yeah, it's always fun
and
to have
Becky turned into Baphomet for 10 seconds and ate Ted's heart. This shit like that. I mean, that's the kind of story.
Fucking Ted.
But think about it, though. How boring would this podcast be if we're like, hey, man, so those Ouija boards, we played with one, and guys...
nothing happened.
It's cardboard and plastic.
Sorry. Nothing took place.
Nothing. I got a magic 8-ball. Is that the same thing as definition? Is there a demon of the magic 8-ball?
It's the 8-baller.
The 8-baller?
There might be if you have a crackhead near and you save an 8-ball.
Oh God, yeah! Don't summon the demon of crackhead. I heard you got an 8-ball around here.
Is it magic, really?
Oh man! All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and read a story off of Reddit because it's not copyright, and I can do that. Let's see, maybe I'll read one.
Well, we can get there eventually, right? I mean,
maybe I gotta find one that's kind of short. I don't want to spend half an hour reading this.
So yeah, I think what I could say about a Ouija board is simple. Don't do it. It's not a good idea. Hide your wife, hide your kids. Don't play with the Ouija board. I mean, it makes sense that, like I've said in previous episodes, why fuck with things that you don't need to fuck with? Why open doors? Why put yourself out there just to discover something? Like an entire hospital wing apparently got shut down. Does that sound like something you want to happen in your house? Or, I mean, maybe if you're your friend's house, yeah, sure, why not?
I'm going to read this one just because of the username. So, guys, this is clearly not mine. This is off Reddit. It's analbeads69. Yeah, that's why I'm reading this, analbeads69. You go.
Perfect.
We were very young, probably under 10. I was at a friend's birthday party, and like 5 of us decided to take out our Ouija board. I am also going to mention that she lived in an old house that had been remodeled, and we were in the basement. We asked the usual stuff. Is there any spirits here? And it pointed to yes, and then it spelled out the name Kate. We got super freaked out and started just backing away slowly from the board, when suddenly 4 balloons that were tied around the room all popped at once on their own. So we shit our pants and ran upstairs. To this day, none of us could explain that. Not a single balloon had burst that whole day, and they were all the helium kind, and they were not touching anything that could have popped them. Just so eerie. LOL. Alright, Anal Bead 69, your name was the best part of that story.
Yeah, your story kind of sucked.
Oh.
Some balloons popped, everyone.
Alright, here's another one. Dark Pearl, P-E-R-L. I have one, but it's kind of short. The best kind. When my grandmother passed away years ago, all of her kids helped clean out the house. When we got to the game closet, we found an old Ouija board. This thing looked ancient. As a kid, I would go to the game closet all the time and never saw this before. When we showed my aunt, she went white in the face and said they had thrown it out and when they were teens because they're, wait. I got excited. Sorry, guys. I got to backtrack. When we showed my aunt, she went white in the face and said they had thrown it out when they were in their teens because my gram would have nothing of the sort. We tossed it in the trash fire and never saw it again.
Nothing of the sort.
Trash fire?
What's a trash fire?
I just have a garbage can.
Yeah, I wish I had an infinite trash fire.
Well, no, you probably have to live in a third world country or something if you have a trash fire. I know in town we have some girls we refer to as garbage fires.
Oh, God.
Oh. All right, this next story comes from Dividing Prescott, also an interesting name. This one's pretty short and it's hilarious. A Ouija board told me and this girl that we were meant to be lovers. It's important to note that her husband was also there when this happened. Maybe he was just into that kind of stuff.
A Ouija board, quote unquote.
Oh, man. Prince Hansel. My sister was 8 at the time and asked the Ouija board what she was going to be when she grew up. It said a hooker. So far, it isn't correct. So far. All right, I'm not going to read any more stories, guys. I think we're pretty much good for this episode. Thanks for listening. As always, I'm your host, Jay.
I'm the benevolent Jack.
Yeah, he's Jack anyway. And don't forget to email us your stories at vanishinggates@gmail.com. That's with 2 G's. Don't forget to like and subscribe us on YouTube.
Yeah, share us too.
Yeah, share us. Tell your friends about us. Tell your family. Tell your relatives. Tell your neighbors.
Tell your wife, tell your kids.
Tell Billy Zane. Don't tell Vin Diesel.
Yeah, please don't tell Vin Diesel.
Nope.
You blame me for this. I don't want Vin Diesel to beat me up.
Oh, man. Anyhow, so thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you later.
Bye, everybody. Start the music.